Hello everybody, this is Jeremy Teo within the DAW. Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be taking a look at Modern Music Solutions Seismic Bass Amp. Now they just renamed their company and it originally was named the Modern Metal Songwriter, but personally I actually think this is a much more fitting name for their company. Now they make quite a few really cool tools. One of them I believe is called the Gamma Vocal Suite. I have a demo of it right now. It's going to expire pretty soon. And it's amazing. And this is the same thing. It's amazing for metal, but it can do so much more. It's great for country, for rock and roll, for whatever you want to do. And it's a very simple and easy plugin to use. So we start off with just the basic UI. We have four main sections to choose from: the pre-effects, amplifier, post-effects, and cabinet section. On the top, we also have a noise gate that allows us to have the threshold set here. We can turn it on and off, a tuner that is very accurate, and an EQ that has, I don't know how many bands. I think the most I've ever gotten is like 32 bands. It might have more bands, but look at this. I can just click, look, 37, 38, 39, 40 bands. It's amazing. You can right click, you can cancel things, you can delete them. Now, this is primarily sold as a metal bass amp plugin, but I think this is probably one of the most flexible bass amp plugins I've ever used. And I actually have a blank preset that I created that is basically going to give you a 1-to-1. So if we solo up this bass, bypass it, it's just a little bit of a volume loss. If anything, there's a little bit of a high-end loss. But let's look at this, right? So in the pre-effects, which is going to be before your amplifier, we have four sections: a fuzz pedal, a overdrive, which is essentially a sans amp, a compressor, which has a VCA and FET. We have the ratios of 2-to-1, 4-to-1, and 10-to-1, and then a dark glass distortion plugin, which sounds absolutely fantastic. Going to the amplifiers, you will have a 3-band crossover that you can either click on and drag and drop, or scroll with your mouse wheel. Now this will come with 3 different amplifiers: amp 1, 2, 3, and a DI. And this little knob right here, or this slider, is the low frequency, mid frequency, and high frequency compression. You also have these contours for the low, mid, and high frequencies, as well as it seems like gain control for the low, mid, and high frequency bands. You have an input gain, as well as a quake knob, which seems to do some type of harmonic enhancement to the low end. It makes the low end sound super massive. You have enhance, which is actually a different set of curve filters. You have 4 of them. And this can kind of really just be a one-stop shop of like, is this the EQ curve that I need to really make things fit in? You also have a really nice, 6-band graphic EQ. And going to the post effects, we have a 10-band EQ with a chorus modulation section. The cabinet gives you 2 cabinets to choose from, a 1x15 and a 4x10. And you have 5 microphones. The sub-kick mic, you will not be able to choose the position of, but everything else you can. You can choose the distance, the position, and the panning. One thing that I noticed is that the default preset, for some reason, has this start off as a left and right panned just by 1%. So if we reload this and I go here, it's good to actually set this to 0 because it will be mono this way. You have a blend knob, phase inversion, and yeah, it's pretty simple. Now let's take a quick listen to this bass and let's see how it sounds. Now for this, I am using Ample Metal Ray. This is a really good sounding Stingray 5-string bass. And all this MIDI has been basically written through Guitar Pro. And then I transposed it into the Riffer and slapped it into the DAW. And let's just see how this sounds without the Seismic suite in the mix. Now, when I mute it, you really hear that the bass goes away, but when I unmute it, it fills up the low end, but you don't really feel low end, right? You don't feel any type of thundering bass or any type of body to it. Well, I've made some user presets. We have simple, thick, 1 through, I think, like 5 or 6. I have a lot of these. What is it? 1 through 5, right? And these all are different types of tones. So if we turn this on and we take this into solo, you can really see that you're able to utilize everything from the crossovers, from the EQ filters, and especially this really powerful EQ. Going into maybe simple thick bass 4. Kind of a thicker, warmer tone. And this is probably my favorite tone that I've created, thick bass 3. You have a controlled low end, a controlled mid-range, and a really predominant high end, but you're using the EQ and everything to get rid of any resonances. I'm also utilizing the compressor, and it's a really cool little preset that I've created. We have thick bass 1, which sounds almost the same, but if you notice, there's no mid and high frequency control, so you can actually hear the mid frequencies just kind of getting out of control in some certain parts. Versus this, it's very consistent. Now, this is just saying, hey, if you're trying to do a metal tone, but what if you're not into metal, right? We go to blank, we can just make this set up as a DI. And we can just see how these amps sound, right? Let's see amp 1. I mean, they sound fantastic. Now, if we add a cabinet to this, you get this explosive low end. So this is where you really need to decide how you're going to do things. Personally, I really like the 4x10s because they have a very deep, rich tone. But if you want to blend it in with a 1x15, which is a little bit more mid-range focused. Let's go for a 4x10. You kind of see what I mean. Now, for a metal tone, if we want to start off with a blank preset, this is really cool because we can just be like, hey, let's just see what we can start out with and what we can create. And in this case, we can use everything from the Sans amp to the Dark Glass. Let's try the Sans amp. Then we can go to the compressor, VCA or FET mode. Notice that the FET is a lot more peaky and pointy because it's very staccato almost, very, very transient because it's super fast. Whereas the VCA is a lot more rounded out. Next, we're going to compensate with the output gain, and then we're going to turn on a cabinet. And this is where the fine tuning comes in. I like to use the EQ. You can right click this, set low, high pass, whatever you want to do, shelves, peaks. In this case, we'll do a high pass. We will just set this to kind of do something like this. And now if we want to, we can really dial things in. We can start cranking up some of the drive. And then we can bring in some of the low end. Bring in some high end. And already we're getting a pretty usable tone if we increase the drive. And you can do a lot of things to just tune this in, right? And if we take this out of solo, and what I did is kind of create a clean-ish sounding bass tone just from scratch. And if you notice from this, it fills up the low end, but it doesn't really sound very predominant. Now, what I like to do for something like rock or metal is I like to have a little bit of a predominant tone. So I created tones like this. And one thing you'll notice is that since there's so much distortion and so much grit in here, I've bypassed the pedals. I'm using all the built-in gain, which is these little center knobs. I'm not using the enhancement or anything like that, but I am utilizing the EQ and the cabinet blend. This is gonna make everything sound thicker. Cool. And it's really that simple. Very flexible, very powerful. If you utilize the crossovers to create a multi-band effect, you can get really thick tones. And there's tons of factory presets. Each single one of these sections actually has multiples. And I really hope there may be an update where it allows you to do that here, because I tried using subfolders and it just kind of wasn't loading properly. So you're able to just kind of make user presets, but I'd love to have a simple thick bass Jerry preset and I just have all 5 of them and then the blank preset separately. Either way, I really like this. So the next thing that I want to do is actually, let's grab an instance of Easy Bass and let me show you what it could do for something that's going to be more of a cleaner tone, right? So we have the basic bass tone. This isn't the best sounding bass amp ever. We're going to stop follow host, set this to maybe something like 100. Cool, that sounds pretty good. It's kind of like a classic country rockish kind of thing. Set this loop and just play it. And let's throw in Seismic Bass Amp Suite. Now already that sounds great, but let's load up that user preset. And remember that this has options for compression on every band, but this is essentially our clean preset. Let's find a nice distortion that we like. Now that alone sounds really good. Let's have a little bit of a VCA compression. We're going to just bring the compression slightly up, bring down the blend, and take it out of solo or take it out of mute again. Now, a really cool thing is in the preamp or the pre-effects section, we can actually choose where things are. I like to have the dynamics at the end. And now let's dial in some compression and gain in the DI tracks. And then let's use the EQ. And in my opinion, that tone is going to be a lot better because in a mix, that cleanish kind of tone has a thicker tone to it. It's got a little bit of grit, a little bit of distortion. You can drive in a little bit more, but this is going to fit very, very well. You can also dial in the cabinets. And I think this is the one part that I think they could really improve on is give us more options for microphones or give us the ability to change the access of the microphones. Because I think the 4x10 sounds great. The 1x15 is very, very mid-rangey and kind of bright. And I think having either more microphones or options of changing the access would give us a lot more control. But as this is, I'm able to get amazing results very quickly. And I haven't even touched the graphic EQ. I haven't really done much at all. You saw this in real time. I just dialed in a really nice warm tone. And because of how I've done it, even though it sounds like it's not as quiet, even though it sounds louder, it's actually more of an RMS loudness. It has a quieter peak and it has a more consistent tone. For a rock record, this tone is definitely a much more usable tone. I'm actually going to just save this as a rock tone, right? Basic rock 1. And there it is. You're able to use this for a clean tone. You're able to use this for a metal tone. It's very, very flexible. I mean, on metal tones, it really speaks for itself. Anyway, that's going to be it for this video. I hope you enjoyed. This is Jerry Mateo within the DAW, and I will leave a link down below to Modern Music Solutions website, previously known as a Modern Metal Songwriter. And hopefully, if I can get a chance to maybe get an NFR of Gamma Vocal Suite, I can definitely do a video because my demo is about to expire. My demo of the amp suite has already expired, so I can't even use it anymore. But the stuff that they're making is absolutely fantastic. It sounds great, very powerful. I haven't really dialed in the fuzz at all yet because I'm not a big fuzz pedal user. But the fact you have choruses, cabinets, amplifiers, all this stuff, you can get clean tones, dirty tones, whatever you want very quickly. It's really cool and really fun. Anyway, I'll see you guys next time. Bye.